Nobody's dead.
It's because of men like you that all must be destroyed. It's because of men like you that all must be destroyed. None of those risks have been seen, at least not by anyone who still remains alive. None of those risks have been seen, at least not by anyone who still remains alive.
brain treatment was given to you. You are a robot, that's all you are. Better not change your mind. You just better not.
10,
Better not change your mind. You just better not.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Tangents, the only show on the internet. I'm Andrew, and I am here in beautiful sunny Cleveland, Ohio, where the sun is not shining because it's 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us for our very special Super Booth wrap-up. You've heard everybody else's opinions on Super Booth, but you haven't heard ours, and ours is the only one that matters. With me tonight, as usual, are the Tangents co-hosts. Justin, how are you?
I'm well. I'm okay.
Good. Christoph, how are you?
I'm alert. So I flew to California today on, I saw Frontline Assembly last night, and then afterwards went to New York, was there for like an hour and a half, and then had to go to the airport, then flew, and then got here. So I got a little bit of a nap in, but it's been a very long day of travel.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to my long
And
day.
I was not able to bring an emotional support synthesizer, so it's rough.
I'm doing a day of travel tomorrow, so I'll be bringing my emotional support deluge.
Yeah, way to go.
That's what I do. Robin, how are you?
I am good, despite the fact that I'm suffering from jet lag flying back from San Francisco this morning. But otherwise,
You
I'm
had
in good
a great
spirits.
time in San Francisco, it looks like.
We are.
I did. That trip went too soon, but it was really fun
That's
hanging out with
awesome.
your opponent. So I highly
Oh, yeah.
recommend.
Your opponent is a great person. Someone should give him a shout out. He's not even on, but who cares? And of course, Jeff. How you doing, sugar?
Hello. I am adequate.
Excellent.
People undercount the value of adequate. Things are fine. Things are good. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. That's all I got.
We did it.
We did it. We said it.
That was really good humans talking.
I know, right? We talked like people.
It's that kind of a day.
We
life,
peopled.
whatever.
Like Christoph just disappeared into the darkness. Oh, no, he's back.
He's in witness protection. That's actually why I was traveling. Don't tell anybody.
That explains a lot.
Oh, I know what it is. I'm completely lit by my monitor.
Yes. His voice has been disguised.
So if I go to a darker screen, I go black.
All right. Well, none of us are working. Has anyone been working on any new projects or anything like that?
Yeah, I am. I'm working on that Ghost Terminal stuff. I've got 7 of 8 tracks done. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out some cover art and figure out what the last track's going to be, and then on to the painful mixing process.
Yay! I know you love doing that.
Hurrah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't have an ETA right now. I really want to take my time with
Sure.
it. So I'm doing this thing where like I write the track and then I sit on it and then I come back and then I rework it and I sit on it, because I think iteration sometimes is better so I don't get burned out.
Cool. Cool.
It's good.
Christoph, what are you working on?
I was going to try to work on something in ZenBeats on my flight, and they updated ZenBeats to version 3, which will not run on my phone or something. It just would just say app closed, app keeps stopping. I submitted a report, so no ZenBeats.
No Zen beats.
That's
Just sitting.
Damn you, Roland.
Big surprise there.
Yeah, right. And that's why I have to stick with Caustic, which I'm worried because they haven't updated Caustic in years, and now all the ecosystems are going to start stopping everything that doesn't have recent
Yeah.
updates.
What a pain.
Yeah, and Caustic was made by one guy, and he's done with it.
Well, maybe you can open up the source and give it to somebody else to do.
Fair enough.
We can hope, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's quite something. I think he was looking for a buyer, but nobody's really looking to buy it.
Yeah. Mm.
Boy, Robin, what are you working on?
I haven't been working on much. It was actually nice when I was in San Francisco that Josh was kind of showing me some additional tricks of the trade with the deluge, so that was kind of helpful. So I'm gonna try to incorporate some of that into Synthfest
Sweet.
this weekend. Oi.
Synthfest this weekend. Dun dun dun. Wish I could be there. Sadly, I cannot. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you got a chance to work on some stuff with that with Josh, and I'm looking forward to restreaming your stream.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I would definitely.
Yeah, no,
recommend.
I watched your guys' co-stream. That was fun. You did some really weird shit. It was in a good way. In a good way. I liked it. Jeff, what are you working on? What's up?
I'm prepping for Synthfest this weekend. So last night on stream, I basically built out a whole bunch of like loop snippets across a bunch of different instruments that can be sort of like the bed for some stuff, for some improvisation. So I've probably got to do a bit more, but I think I think I have at least enough material in place to do a solid hour. And I have a 2-hour set, so I think I probably need to do another one. But I wound up doing, what did I do? I've got 7 different scenes built for 3 different instruments, and then also 7 drum scenes. So it's quite a bit of stuff to noodle together. But that's really it. And then I gotta get my button gear on getting the promotional stuff together for the Ghostron EP, which is available via xstudios.net, and will be available. Well, it's available for pre-order now. Pre-order it immediately.
Yes.
Also, it will be available to listen to on June 10th. It's also the best. It's the best album of ghost-based synthwave released by X Studios ever.
It's true.
In June this year. And also it's coming from the only show on the internet, so you really can't lose with
No,
it.
and you know we're being honest
about
and
it, right?
forthright, and because it's us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can trust us.
Oh yeah, we're from the internet.
That's right. It's only $3 too, so even if I'm completely lying to you and it is the worst music, I guess technically it probably is also the worst ghost-based synthwave album that X Studios has released in June this year.
Yeah, that's also true.
So, take it whichever way you want to go with it, but it's only $3.
Enjoy our Schrodinger's music.
That's right.
Let's get into some pretty cool math.
I know, right?
I like it.
Let's discuss probability. Anyway, well, that's cool. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to watching your Synthfest reel as well this weekend.
Thank you.
It'll be exciting. I got the masters back for the Herman album. They sound really good. So that's exciting. Mr. Adam
When
Boos
is it?
did a very good job on that.
As always.
Yes.
When is that dropping?
I
Andrew?
don't have a drop date yet because I'm waiting on the art.
Ah,
Which is
that's
the next
right.
step. So, plus I want to see about maybe getting a movie poster made. Because that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. I'm thinking about dumb things. So yeah, other than that, I've just been kind of noodling about. I set up every piece of Electron gear that's in the studio on the workbench, and have been just making them all beep at me to see what happens. I am now Swedish. And
I would say might not be the greatest time to be in Sweden right now, but
yeah, it's kind of weird.
oh, well.
Kind of want to join NATO, kind of not. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
Want meatballs, Socialism's okay, but I still have a king. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah. Yes.
There is an electron-shaped hole in the rack behind you.
Indeed, there is. That's because I took
yeah.
everything off of there that was that had an Electron logo and put it over on the bench. So it looks a little quiet back there tonight. I didn't even turn on the other stuff. I didn't turn on any of the lighty up stuff. It's because I'm traveling tomorrow and I have to unplug everything in the studio. So that way
Fair.
nothing gets blasted by thunderstorms while I'm gone. Or random power outages, as it happens in Cleveland, Ohio, because we're backwards with our electricity.
You don't run your studio through a UPS?
I do, but I'm also paranoid as hell, so I just unplug it when I'm not around.
I would too. You don't want to damage your UPS.
Yeah,
either.
exactly.
A good UPS.
Batteries
Yeah.
cost money.
I've got
And for anyone listening, if you're not running your studio through a UPS, I strongly suggest it, especially during the summer months, because every time your air conditioner kicks in, you see a undervoltage. Like you'll see your lights dip a little bit, and those kind of dips are just hell on high-end electronic components.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
UPS will keep your power at the same level and protect it. I remember my studio, whenever my air conditioner kicked in, certain devices would just start generating noise. And it's, oh, that's not good. And one of those actually killed my second Kurzweil
Wow.
on the motherboard. But yeah, I had a Roland JV1010, and it would just die every time the power dipped on it.
It's, I kind of went down a different road. I got like industrial strength. They're basically surge protectors, but they're also brownout protectors, which is what you're talking about. So the downside is, unlike a UPS, it won't just regulate the power all the time, but at least it'll trip it completely off if it drops. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's cheaper. The reason I had to do that is because my room is so screwed up that I would have had to have multiple UPSs because I had things plugged in all over the fucking room.
Do you run into ground loop differentials because you're using multiple power sources?
I don't have to. The only one I do is for the speakers.
Okay.
And that's because they get a shit ton of hum if I do.
Yeah.
All right.
So ground loop differentials are something we could go off on a tangent
Yes,
someday.
Yes. More
we'll have
tangents.
our entire discussion about UPSs and power. Power. Unlimited power.
something dark side.
I don't know. I wasn't listening. Well, we have so much news because there's this thing that happened last week when we were off.
Tuesday.
Yes, it was Tuesday happened last week. It also happened this week, too.
Oh, weird.
And it might even
Spoiler
happen next
alert,
week.
Robin.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have said that first. Really bad at that.
Yeah, so Super Booth. Y'all missed it. Nobody on the internet bothered to report about it. None of the usual YouTube influencers said a word about Super Booth.
Yeah, that was strange. Not
Yeah,
long.
none of the music gear places knew about it until we started sending them stories.
Yeah, Sonic State didn't do 44 videos. at
No,
all.
they did not. Bo Beats was certainly not there with Cuckoo and Starsky Car covering everything with their YouTube fluids.
Didn't take that long into this.
I'd buy that for $1.
Gurgling. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, Actitect certainly wasn't there streaming it live. That was just a green screen, I think. I had to keep on sending him stories and pictures, and then he would just edit them into the green screen of like the new gear that was coming out. So the only people that were at Super Booth were the 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean we weren't there at all.
Well, we were there as Voltron
Yeah,
because there's just enough of us.
There is enough of us to be the mighty Voltron.
Or Captain Planet.
Fair enough.
I prefer Voltron.
So
I'm
does
more of a
everybody.
Robotech guy myself, but I hear you. I'm down. God, it just got real nerdy in here, man. I'm sorry.
Dibs on the head.
Like more nerdy.
I mean,
than
nerdy in
usual.
a different direction.
I think I need to redo our frames so they look like the scene, like when they're forming Voltron and all 5 of them are on there at the same time. And it'll just like have the music looping in the background until everyone just like tunes off and leaves and never comes back to talk to us again. I'll be sending everyone color-coded helmets.
We could just take a break and set that up real quick. I don't think anybody would mind waiting.
All right, I don't want to get freaking human centipede shit. All right, let's keep this clean.
Oh God, no. Nope.
And I do have Photoshop on this computer, and I am a career creative, to be clear. So I think we can
There
make
we
it
go.
happen.
If you see Jeff distracted, you know what he's doing.
We got
Diving in
about-
there and like
Yeah.
changing the frames around and everything.
All right, Jeff. I want to be orange, and I want to be the left thigh.
And all form the head.
There is a shocker.
No,
No one saw that
Yeah.
coming.
No surprises.
I'm a whore for leadership. What? All right. So
Is it time to fire Phoenix?
what's that?
Is it time to form the fiery
Ooh.
Phoenix?
Was that from Battle of the Planets?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Transmute, motherfucker.
Good old Battle of the
All
Planets.
right. Gotcha, man.
Yeah, and that's all available on Crunchyroll if you want to spend your hard-earned dollars on
There
that
you
stuff.
go. Christoph and I are old.
Yeah.
Get off our lawn. All right. So let's get started on the.
I'm the oldest one here, and yet I'm still clearly only 29.
I know, right? How do you do that?
Vampires.
Oh, fucking Draculas with their Dracula medals and their widow's peaks.
It's a Dracula factory.
God, I love the Venture Brothers. Well, our good friends over at IK Multimedia released the iRead Quattro mobile interface. I don't know who's putting notes up tonight. All right,
I got
cool.
it. I can do
You
it.
just need to put the links. You need to put the our snarky commentary in there.
But how will people know what to think about these links?
Oh,
Oh.
Andrew will say.
All of us will say thank you, Robin. I'm not the only person who's an asshole. Jeff is too.
It's true.
So yeah, the iRig Quattro, little 4x2 audio and MIDI interface. That actually looks kind of cool. I was looking at this as just like this
Yeah.
is a neat little box. It's you can use it as a standalone mixer, field recorder, everything that you could possibly need. 4 in, 2 out. What else do you don't need 2 audio output for anything other than stereo.
Except for DJs.
Yeah.
For who?
DJs, like all these interfaces, they never have 4 outputs, and that's what DJs need. So you eliminate the entire DJ
Oh
market
yeah,
whenever you outputs.
Interesting. Yeah.
there is that. But this might not be made for DJs. This is like a field recorder. kind
Actually,
of thing.
I just bought a 4x4 interface that I'll be getting tomorrow, so that I can stream from out here.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
What'd you get?
Nice.
I got a Behringer. Yeah, I know. I don't know how it's going to work. I hear it has stereo bleeding, but for DJing, it won't
Right.
matter. So I'll be able to review it in 2 weeks.
Sweet. Looking forward to hearing the review on that.
Yeah.
So basically, this
But it was
thing's
very-
more like a podcast interface than anything else. So it does what
Yeah.
works out great for that kind of thing. As a field recorder, it runs on it's battery powered, and for some reason it has micro USB instead of a USB-C connector, which is an interesting design
Yeah, that's
decision in
kinda
this
weird.
in this world.
Yeah, because it runs apparently on kind of all the platforms, like tablets,
Yeah.
phones, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's class compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said run on some cameras.
Yeah. Wambra, why are you posting links to Matisse in our in our chat?
You mean like the French artist Matisse?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. And now he's sending. All right,
I found the
Wambra,
right
you're about
link.
to lose your linking,
That's all right.
linking abilities there.
Although, let's double down. Let's put on some Surratt, man. Let's get weird.
I mean, to be fair,
That's pointillism.
that is a pretty funny accidental clipboard usage, and it could have been way worse. It could have been
It really
way
could have been. It
worse.
could have been like what he was currently masturbating to, or something like that.
Or
Oh,
maybe
it was. No.
He
The
I mean,
second
he
link
could have
was the Buyer's Guide to Behringer Synthesizers. That's what Wambra's tossing off about. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, it could have been Gauguin. That could have been even
Yeah,
worse.
I'm not gonna shame. I'm not gonna shame Wambra's kinks if he's into whacking off to Behringer synths. I'm not gonna, Won't judge you.
I feel like we should submit a written apology to Robin for every episode.
Like I'm
we're
not
all
used to
gonna
this
go
one.
to
Is.
an HR
That's why
training.
I am the HR
that-
So
department.
about that Quattro, it's a pretty good looking interface,
It really
honestly,
is.
but I don't think that they really knew who their market was because it's kind of getting smoked by some of the other things that are in market right now, like the Tascam Portacapture X8 is I think is very compelling. And like a similar or better price, I can't remember I think the IK is like 500 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind
It's
of
like 450.
expensive.
450 euros,
Yeah,
about like
420.
500.
It's 426.99 euros. So I don't know what that would be in dollars, but it's a deluxe for 548. But yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
so the
still.
Tascam Portacapture X8 is 500, but if anybody is not familiar with it, like you should look it up. It's pretty bonkers. It has I don't know. It's got like at least 4 XLR ports and some other stuff, and it's also got like a full phone size touch screen and a bunch of other tactile things, and has the mics built in, and also works as a class compliant USB interface. This one feels a little underspec'd, but the knobs
The
are
knobs
really
are nice.
nice.
I also like the fact that they have that multi-interface inputs on there, that 1/4 inch and XLR kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, the
that should just be the
That's
standard
pretty
from
nice.
now on.
Yeah. Honestly, anything that I don't mind on mixers when they have XLR, like a proper mixer when it has XLR and a line input separately. But the ones when I bought the Allen Heath, there's all these mixers that only had XLR inputs, and that's
Yeah, agreed.
dumb. It's just dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah,
in this day and age.
I have to do some conversion in my own setup because I still have 2 computers and I have 2 audio interfaces, and my speakers have 2 1/4 inch and 2 XLR, right? So like if I want to move between both of them, until such a time as I'm ready to whack the old one, I got to live with that. It looks like the DSLR camera support is kind of interesting. I mean, this just looks like, I don't know. I don't know about that other one, Jeff. I feel that IK Multimedia is a weird company. I remember messing around with the iRig like shit in the mid 2000s. Like that's been around forever. But they've just been weird to me because it's kind of like that Saturday Night Live skit where it's like all things Scottish and pizza,
Right.
They're like, we made like these samplers, the sample pack stuff, and then, we make weird devices. Like it's just kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the IK Michael, that thing, the iRig Quattro. Buy it if that's your thing. Up next is the Audio Kit VHF Synth app. If you like your music to sound like it was recorded on a VHS synthesizer? Wow. VHS video recorder tucked into the back room underneath Grandpa's porn collection, found 10 years later, covered in dust and God knows what strange internet fluids, this might be the synthesizer for you. Robin, you posted this.
Yeah, I had gotten notification of it because I think I think they make the Synth One as well, which I had gotten when either it was on sale like months back or something. And I'm not a huge user of iPad or OS apps, but I really like the interface that they do, and like they usually come up with a lot of really good sounds. So once I saw that and the fact that they had everything in their catalog on sale for like $3.99 or something, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And the sounds that are coming out of it are amazing. I've been fooling around with it by myself, and it's just been it's a great app in my opinion.
It's got this nice little buzzy, weird sound to it. Yeah, it's a cool little iPad OS music app if you are an iPad OS or iOS music maker. And apparently also it comes with a free OP1 expansion pack.
What?
It's
That must
it's
make you very happy.
$2,000 cheaper than the new OP1. We'll bitch about that in a little bit. So
It's too
I
cheap.
know, it's low.
Oh my gosh, Andrew! I thought you were just being snarky. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
bullshit is this?
No,
So
I think this thing sounds so
it
cool.
really
And
does.
I love the video.
the video introduction is goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I love Jakob Hack, as you
Mhm.
know. So I'm a huge fan. And yeah, that's a great video.
Yeah. So yeah, check that thing out. If you're except for Christoph.
This, honestly, one of the few things that makes me really wish I had an iPad is Synth One.
Yeah.
I think Synth One is an
It's-
amazing sounding synth.
it's
I'm really
so
impressed
good.
with it, and I wish they would
It's-
release it for other platforms. And I know they never will, because it's really, they designed it just to show off their audio development
Mhm.
engine, which is an iOS development engine. So they're never going to port it. But I really wish they would release that as a VST. I think Audio One, the Synth One, is an amazing virtual
Yes.
synth.
You know,
Actually
Agreed.
named because there's two other synths that are also called Synth
course.
One. One
Right.
being the free, like one of the most famous free VSTs with over 20,000 patches for it. That sounds great. But Synth One, I love when you modulate the filter on it, the high frequency modulation. It's amazing
Mhm.
sounding. It's really good. And I'm just, I'm kept out of that ecosystem, unfortunately.
I just think that as a concept, like I've done that for many things, like both Arturia and even Waldorf have released really cool plugins, and then they, or apps, and then they turn around and release the plugin, and I immediately buy it because, I mean, look, I like trying something out. It cost me a few bucks, right? And then, to me, that would be a good marketing methodology, right?
Yeah.
And then port it to something a little more professional. And not that I'm saying you can't make professional music, but to your point, I mean, I don't have my rig set up to accommodate that as part of, you know what I mean? It's something I would do separately, just for giggles. And
Yeah.
and I wish that weren't the case, but that is kind of what it is right now.
Yeah, I'm first of all, Hayes Anderson, thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody. We are bitching about everything that came out at Super Booth. Discussing everything that came out at Super Booth in a friendly way. Welcome to Tangents. Yeah, please like, subscribe, and follow. Hit those buttons and give us money. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, iPad stuff. I use an iPad all day. That's what I use for work. So I don't necessarily want to work on them all night. I'm
Right.
using an iPad right now to read the news. So that's my kind of thing. So I don't have them. I don't really use them down in the studio for music or anything like that. Although Animo does blow things away. I love how much fun that is. You plug a Linstrument into it, and it becomes even crazier.
But then again, I mean, they have a VST AU
yes,
pair
yeah.
for that,
Now they have that on a
which
VST.
is also, although you lose some MPE unless you have a good MPE controller, I still think it sounds badass,
Yeah.
honestly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep, it's a very cool one. Their Model 15 modular is also really good.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. So yeah, the iPad iOS audio kit VHS synth app available for like $3 right now. It
It's a
really
steal.
is. There's
It
no
really
reason for
is.
you not to get it
Even if
unless
you're
you're
just-
Christoph and you don't have an iOS device.
Worth the money.
Stop crying, Christoph. This is Christoph when he's happy. This is Christoph when he's sad. This is Christoph when he's angry. This is Christoph. Oh, there he goes. He's starting to emote now. He's turning on. We've activated him. He's waking from his nap. Beep boop. Oh, he's gone Kraftwerk.
Oh my God. Christoph is like robo-voguing right now. This is so good.
All right. I'll show you my stupid human trick.
We're ready.
I don't know if this will activate. Now you can't see it.
Oh,
Oh, look at you.
that was worth the price of entry right there.
Right? Woo,
Sure
How much am I
was.
paying you?
Anarchy and Bedrock asks, what is MPE?
Ah, very good. MPE is a newish kind of thing that's the standard in MIDI 2.0. It allows, it's a multi-expression performance. I can't remember what the hell it stands for. Christoph will probably tell us.
It's kind of like advanced polyaftertouch.
Yeah. Every note is its own MIDI channel. And so you can do kinds of weird things, like you can do note bending on multiple channels. You can give it, a lot of it is like three-dimensional expression. So like on an instrument, you have like the aftertouch, but then you can move your finger up and down, left and right, and it will do other weird shit however you program it to.
Mac Joe beat me. Yeah, if you want a good example of one of the shrimp that does it, Bubblegum
Yes.
Nihilist uses quite a bit.
Like he has like 6,000
effectively.
MPE controllers around him. I think he is an MPE controller.
If you want a good sort of like an analog for MPE, just to if you're not familiar with it at all, if you think about the expression that somebody has on a guitar, for instance, and the way that you can bend multiple strings and give different amounts of vibrato on them and sort of activate each of the 6 strings and the 6 frets a little bit differently, that's a pretty good mental model for sort of like generally how MPE works. And obviously you can apply any modulation you want to it. But if you think of a guitar, that's basically it.
Good explanation. All right, so yeah, that's that. Where did I go? There it is. Okay, so next piece of amazing news is from our good friends over at Soma Instruments. Soma is known for being batshit crazy. And their new thing is a log that you can play that has a synthesizer in it. I don't know how else to explain this thing. It's like a microtonal synthesizer. The video for it is batshit insane as well, which is what we'd expect from Soma. There's this very interesting interface. Now, the thing that they're playing is it's not the final product, unfortunately. It's just, it's not. It might be a piece of wood in the end. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be all handwritten like this and everything like that. But who knows? So
there's so much going through my brain. Anywhere from it's log, it's
know.
log, it's better than bad, it's
I
good,
just typed it.
all the way up to like
Something
some
I was
log
doing.
lady shit.
I know.
I don't know.
Log Lady is where I
Yeah.
immediately went.
It's bad, it's good.
It's Ren and Stimpy
Yeah.
all the way for me.
Everyone needs a log.
I got like so many boner and poop jokes in my head right now. Unsurprising to anybody.
Oh,
I'm just saying my log has something to say
I
about
bet
this.
Yeah.
it does. So Soma makes weird shit, right? So this shouldn't be too much of a surprise for anybody that they come out with this log with buttons and weird knobs on it and stuff like that. They're
Yeah.
so bizarre, and like they have like a philosophy behind their musical instruments.
Yeah, I think Don Buchla would be really proud of like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tom Bombadil and a bunch of psilocybin would be really proud of this.
This is 100% Ent.
I also wonder if this.
Yeah.
You also wonder if this is the kind of synthesizer where it's like, okay, you know how like in your living room you want some type of like centerpiece or some like book or something that's like, oh, here's for show for people. Like this is very fancy looking. That I wonder if like this would be very eye catching on your coffee table.
I think it would.
I don't know.
man.
I think it. Yeah, that's a good point. It might be like this, like amazing coffee table synthesizer. We might be starting something new.
I just had an idea because I do have a wood shop and have done a lot of woodworking and have built coffee tables and things like that. Do you all want to build a coffee table synthesizer that's like an actual coffee table synthesizer and it's got like speakers under the bottom of it and some weird stuff on it? 'Cause
yeah.
we could do it. I could make
Yes.
it.
And let's call
Actually,
it
yeah, that'd be
Tangents
amazing.
OP1.
Yeah. Let's instead build a coffee table book about coffee table synthesizers. I think that,
All right, Kramer.
Yeah, right. So can we make a coffee table theremin, and whenever you put your coffee down it, it's like,
That would actually probably be the easiest
Right?
thing to do, honestly. Like, there's all sorts of theremin kits out there.
sorry.
Anyway, we could actually do it. It wouldn't be hard.
Well, we could use like membrane surface on it, so you can't damage it. Jeff,
It just
you know
it just
what I mean?
rots
Like,
over the years like every other membrane surface that Roland's made.
Perfect.
We got to figure out a way
I was
to.
thinking something like just capacitive metal. If you use low voltage capacitive touch on something where essentially where you're the circuit.
That's true.
Yeah, we could put a giant like Buchla style thing on there.
We could make
And as Soma has proven to us, it doesn't matter what it sounds like or what notes it plays.
It's
As I
all
said,
about
it's
the
design.
concept. Come on.
That's what I say. Coffee
Yeah.
table synthesizer.
This is perfect. We can have our coffee table synth, and it might be just a limited edition of 5 because everyone else on the channel is poo-pooing the idea. Mac Joe says, "No, I do not want one," and Hayes Anderson says, "Let's don't and pretend we did." And Mac Joe says, "Why can't people be happy with a table and a synth that you put on it or not?"
Wow.
But Womber says, "I have envisioned this already
I mean,
for
you're-
Dyson billiards. It's all about the surface. I want it."
All right. I was hoping they were all going
Always
to be
been
like
a
green eggs
taste.
and ham comments, and we got one
He
positive.
wants to touch it.
I want to possess it. I want to lick it. I want to violate it.
No licking the synth. That's what you got your Soma pipe
Right?
for.
The two instruments I have by Soma is the Soma pipe, which a little while back I got this little USB micro camera thing because I was trying to find something in the couch. And I had the idea of attaching it to the mouthpiece of the Soma pipe because it's got a light in it, and I could totally get like the internal Andrew view as I'm playing the Soma pipe, and you can see my tonsils jiggling and stuff. And then I also realized I don't have much of a gag reflex, so I can actually see how far I can shove this thing down my throat.
Okay, but there was like so much shit going on. I know it's not the point of this paragraph, and I would fail the reading comprehension test. But what the fuck did you buy a camera to find something in your couch? I need this story, but we can do it later.
Stasha lost her hearing aid, and we thought it was in the couch, so. And yeah, those things aren't cheap. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And why isn't I don't really have a gag reflex on your T-shirt?
Because we chose the only show on the internet as our logo instead.
I think that was a safer bet. Trust me.
Oh, God.
Not sure I'd be wearing that other T-shirt.
Oh,
Only if you
God.
want free drinks at the bar, my friends.
Oh.
I don't want them that bad. I can pay for my own.
And after the electric vuvuzela that we made, this coffee table thing is going to fly right off. the
Right?
shelves.
So look, I've already found a really nice live edge slab from my favorite supplier, and it's really big. It's 64 inches by 25 inches.
That's what he said.
Okay, that's pretty
This
nice.
conversation is just so.
So
fucking
Tony
great.
Gustin says we should get a table for the next super booth, but we won't need one because we'll be making them. We'll just bring them to super booth and just set it down. It is the table.
Oh, that is so meta. We could set up like these. Looks like a card table and just pull the sheet off and be like, "Ta-da!" Let's do it.
It only makes vuvuzela sounds.
Oh God, no. Actually, that would probably sell well.
especially if it
did.
was around the World Cup time.
Exactly. Marketing.
Yes.
Oof.
Right.
Oh my God. All right. So
And the manual is only released in Dutch.
Oh my gosh. But it's also only engraved in runes on the back of it.
I was hoping it'd
That'd
be like
be
an
pretty cool.
IKEA style
And it's
thing where it
just a
has like the
cookbook.
dude like with the question mark,
The controls are
and then
all
he's
higher
calling
than-
Giorgio
Yeah, there we go.
Moroder to help him with it. Yeah.
See, you're running Mac Joe over with the walnut, so you got
Yeah,
something
right?
going there.
That's good. I like walnut. Walnut's forgiving. I'm not the world's best woodworker. It's walnut and I
Yeah.
can get along.
I like that. Well,
I know.
that's forgiving.
You don't even need Giorgio Moroder. You just need his mustache.
It's true.
That's enough.
Yes. It just the little IKEA dude calling Giorgio Moroder's mustache.
I don't want to talk to you.
We
I'm
we have
just a
really done a
little
tangent
mustache.
here.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Mars here, Central, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is
Yes,
that it?
that is
yeah,
correct.
Central.
Let's
Yeah.
move on to
Here
the
we
next
are.
story because this one
Ta-da.
is just stupid. So, Sensel is. We were just talking about the Sensel morph on the last episode, the last exciting episode. Previously on Tangents, we were talking about the Sensel morph, and because they were including it with the new Buchlas as an interface. They said, "Oh yeah, it comes with a Sensel morph," and now this story comes that Sensel is discontinuing the morph.
Turns out the 11 they sold via Buchla was not enough to keep the company invested in this
Right?
product.
They're a cool idea, and I played with them up at Moogfest and stuff because they're always at Moogfest showing this thing off, even before they were in regular manufacture. And I didn't know that this was just kind of like a pet project in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what John Haynes was saying a while ago. That they were that they did and interfaces, like some sort of haptic or capacitive touch interfaces for industrial use.
Exactly, and so that they are, they're stopping to do these things, and making yoga mats. No, that's not it.
Making a Subway sandwich.
They'd make more money off the yoga
True.
mat, sadly.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot more like haptic touch pads and stuff like that, and getting doing more kind of normal kind of interfacing and stuff like that. So, it's kind of sad because this was a cool, neat little way of doing things. If those that aren't familiar with the Sensel morph, it was a expressive multi-function music controller that had kind of like these rubberized mats, and they had different control surfaces, and you'd put them on there, and then they would load a different interface. So they had one that was like drum triggers, and you can doop. There's one that was like a mixer kind of thing. You can move your fingers and adjust the mixer. There's one that was kind of like what they called, like the Phoenix keyboard, the Thunderbird keyboard.
Yeah, which is based on the old Buchla.
Exactly, as well as like a normal like standard keyboard. And that kind of, as well as a typing keyboard as well. And you just buy the little mats and you slap it on there, and then you'd have that interface available to you. So it was a clever idea. It was really neat. They were cool to play with, but I guess they just never really caught on. They were definitely kind of niche, I guess. So yeah, then now they're not being made anymore.
Rip.
Yep. Womp womp.
But you know what is being
Do
made
tell.
now? They made it just for Christoph. Actually, it looks like it's a low budget 303.
Oh, the Donner.
Yeah, the Donner Kebab. Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is great because I just think Donner Party and Oregon Trail. I don't know, like
They made a game called the Donner Dinner Party. I think I have a copy of it around here somewhere. I might.
Mac Joe,
nothing-
you can send the link. Yes, thank you for asking. Womber, you can learn a thing from Mac Joe, who actually asked before he started posting
Oh,
links
snap.
to.
Would be another link to it. This is going to be a Van Gogh.
probably.
I think the one I've seen using the Phoenix interface is
Yes.
Susan Ciani.
Yeah, this thing is weird. It looks like a Korg Electribe meets like a stereo from the 1990s. I don't know really.
Mac Joe, whisper it to me. I'll post it. Oh. Womper.
They somebody in the Golden Shrimp Guild got one and posted a video of it. I don't remember who it was. It's I mean, look, 303. It sounds like
Right.
a 303. So
it's right up Christoph's alley.
I don't know whether it's accurate or whatever. Like this this producer who makes acid techno called Honey Smack, and he had a very funny interview on Attack magazine, and they were asking him. He's like he collects 303s and the clones and the reissues or whatever. and they were asking him something like, I don't know, which one do you think is the most authentic? And his response was like, who fucking cares? Are you people doing science experiments or making music? and it's sort of like in that vein, to me, it sounds like a 303. I don't know if it's like perfectly accurate, but it sounds like one. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great that they're kind of taking a piss out of Behringer too.
Right.
How
Also-
much is the original Behringer 303?
Oh, the whatever the abomination of
150.
or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was like about the same price. It's like 150.
Yeah.
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 The Devilfish one, sorry, modded out one is like
Yeah.
250.
It's more, but you're definitely getting value for that mod.
The modded out ones, I like. I'm not a big fan of the 303. It's kind of like it's fine. I don't really like techno very much. Like again, like it's kind of fine. But the modded out one I think is actually like kind of worth buying at $250 if you want a mono baseline synth. Like it's pretty good.
Oh, if I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for the money, I guess. I mean, if you want something with a sequencer, I'd recommend the Pro One instead.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the
because it
sequencer
doesn't
is the
sound
key.
like the 303.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you like the 303 sound, I mean, these are such bargains.
Yep.
And that modded version, you're getting so much more. It's a night and day difference.
Well, you think about it, it's that.
If I was gonna have to get one, it would definitely be the modded.
But
Yeah,
that's
you know,
such
sure.
a case of even the original TB303 of hyper-inflated, ridiculous prices. Considering it's like plastic and it's, they sold it originally for nothing,
And it sounds like a 303, so it's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The 303 is the only synthesizer that I know of that literally cannot sound like anything but itself. It is legitimately the only one that I can think of. Like every other synthesizer can make other sounds.
But to be fair, I have heard people make a 303 not sound like a 303.
Oh, that
but
was
it's
Skinny
very
Puppy, and
difficult.
They did it with
yeah.
outside effects or something then. But I don't know. I don't believe it.
Well, I mean, there's two things. One is you have to keep the resonance down
Yeah.
because that resonance is so distinctive that once you put the resonance up, oh, that's a 303.
Yeah.
So when the resonance is down, it can sound more like a very basic synth, but it's still not interesting enough. It's just not worth it. There's so many better
It's
mono
crazy
synths
that it
to
was.
get. Unless you're trying to get
It
that
was
sound.
marketed.
Yeah.
So the real appeal of the 303 was the real-time modulation, where if you want to have the same bass line play for an hour for your drugged out friends, the 303 is your synth. Because you could modulate it and keep changing it in real time. And at the time, there were a lot of synths that didn't do that. So, but it's still terrible. You're much better off getting just like an SH-101.
Yep.
Or anything else that makes the 303 noise, which is a lot.
Yeah, or
Yep.
the base station.
Yeah, I will admit I do have a soft spot for some acid house. I do like Richie Houghton. And I would say that I think he's probably the most creative person in that genre.
Yeah, and as much as I trash the 303, there's at least one song I like that uses the 303, which is on Daft Punk's Tron soundtrack.
I thought you were going to say Gangnam Style, so I'm a little disappointed, but
What's that?
I said I thought you were going to say Gangnam Style.
Yeah. No. All right, who wants to break down and do the horsey dance?
You got more room.
Not it.
Damn. I was really hoping you would do it. So yeah, this is the Donner, the low-priced, amazing 303 clone.
Mac Joe
Yep,
says,
says, we've been waiting for China to jump into the synth market.
Well, they kind of did with ASM.
Yeah, for real.
you can also strangle a bird closer to a mic, and that's even cheaper than the 303 and sounds about the same. It's true.
Whoa.
What bird you're strangling is how open and closed the filter is. You gotta have a crow and a blue jay, like one in each hand.
Well, they're both corvid, so they're both going to have similar resonance, I think.
Oh, good Lord. I just want to remind everyone no 303s were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Or birds.
No birds either.
But if I could,
No, we whacked a ton of birds. I want to be clear about
Nope. We don't need Peter going
Hey,
after
now.
us.
Yeah, we don't need PETA.
so just like that famous footage that you guys have of that guy throwing his Behringer
Callus.
Okay, yeah.
out the window. I feel bad about that synth, but I would throw a 303 out the window with no regrets.
Yeah, well, context is key because Callus's Model D was not acting very well.
It was a tuning issue.
What's
right?
that?
Busted.
Yeah,
It was a tuning issue, right?
and he finally got angry at it. So the Donner Kebab, and their inexpensive 303. Speaking of small synthesizers that you can insert rectally, Roland has introduced the competition to the those little Korg Volcas, and it's called so creatively the Era Compact.
They just found yet another way to market their Zencore engine. I
Yeah.
swear.
Yeah. Well, Era isn't even Zencore, is it?
No, this one is. The old IRA stuff was ACB
IRA, sorry.
technology, but yeah.
It's not a boutique. It's just like, I don't know, whatever. It's dumb. It's just dumb.
That's it.
Well, it's weird because it's fiddly and small like a boutique, though.
Yeah.
And if you
It's smaller.
believe it, all the cool
Not even
kids are playing it like in their demo video here. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. John Haynes, your ears must have been ringing because we were just talking about you. So yeah, these little guys here, they come in 3 different flavors. Strawberry, blueberry, and banana. Or is that mango? I think it's more mango. They advertise that you can jam instantly with these little fuckers. And oh God, I hate their marketing so much.
I know. I mean, look, could people make badass music with this? Absolutely. And it's fine. I'm also not trying to be elitist and be like, oh, you have to buy expensive gear. I'm sure you can make great stuff with this. It's just, to me, like, I don't know. I just don't understand Roland, and I don't understand their marketing, and I just don't get it.
Maybe you almost look at it as like similar to like cameras, how you have a lot of really complex DSLRs and media format, and then there's always like the entry level camera that's just like very basic, very small, to kind of like get like the newbies in to be like, this could be cool, this could be your entry into all of this, and then they're happy with it for like a couple months until they realize, oh, there's way better things at more money that I could do more stuff with. So it feels more entry level for people who are not used to stuff, or just really pocket things that they can travel around with and be like, oh, I'm going to the beach, I'm just going to take this little Korg synth with me.
Although I feel that if anybody was like, hey, you know what this beach party needs? A 303. No. It's like bringing a guitar to a party. You do not need to do this. This is a bad idea.
Okay, yeah. Do you think that you're saying this is a gateway drug to the MC707? I just want to understand.
I'm not saying it actually is. I'm wondering if it's marketed in a way that they like, oh, here's something really simple, really cutesy, and it feels very trendy, which might get people who wouldn't like, who are not as like technically sound. And it's, again, I think it's just another way to try to bring newer people into synths, in my opinion.
Especially teenagers, probably.
Yeah,
there's a big market for like cheap synths.
Well, that's the key.
Teenagers
it's like,
don't have any money, so like you've got the Teenage Engineering pocket operators, the Volta series. Behringer's about to go into this market heavy with a ton of fantastic sounding little synths, like their JP8000 clone. So Roland doesn't want to leave money on the table, so they're going to enter it too, and they'll release a bunch of synths that mostly work and never get updated.
I mean, if teenagers are going to like try to get things like, PS5s and whatever, and those are way more expensive than these things, it's like, again, as I say, here's a affordable entry level way to like rope you in, and then realize there's limitations with this stuff and you want to do more, and then but look at all these other options that are
Right.
available to you. Just gonna plunk some more money down.
Here's these other things that
Or
aren't
you
the
sell-
IRAs, and we're going to confuse you even more.
These little cents.
I was talking over
All
somebody.
right.
I'm sorry.
I think you're right, Robin. I think that's really the rationale behind their marketing for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think even like the Volcos were kind of like the similar kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least those were like analog. Like someone put some real effort into.
Durham.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That voice tweaker actually seems interesting to me. Like, I would want to
Right.
fool around with it.
Sure.
I'm not sure. It's like that would be for shits and giggles. It's like I don't necessarily consider that a serious piece of equipment, but it might be fun because it's something different
Sure.
than what I have.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, these are fun things, but I mean, really, that's the whole point of making music anyway. We buy all this stuff because we have fun making it. And I judge harshly Roland because I really think their marketing is just god awful and their build quality is complete and utter garbage. But at the same time, this is actually kind of a smart thing to make, and that is, it's a fun way. It's a good way to have fun with your stuff, and you can throw it in your bag and
Yeah.
have fun with it out in the world. Just don't bring it to a party. If you show
Yeah,
up
and
to
if you-
my
It's
party,
not
with
super
those things,
complicated.
I'll
Well-
break them.
If you buy,
Well, that's different.
yeah, if you buy into their ecosystem,
It's small enough that you can
you can
carry.
go all the way up to their flagship running the same Zencore
Right.
stuff. I mean, which is, I guess, now the Jupiter X and the Juno X. So, I mean, if you really dig what you're hearing and you want to do that, then
Yeah, they're just kind of, I don't know. They're cute. They're obviously aiming for a certain market, but like it's weird because like the layout is so Volca. It is so Volca E.
Yes.
Volca E. Like I'm surprised that like Korg's not like lining up their lawyers and shit like that. So
yeah. The problem is Roland can harken back to the TR-606 and be like, "We were here first, MFers,"
yeah. Yeah, so there it is. That is the Roland Ira Compact, available in 3 different flavors: strawberry, blueberry, and mango. Also known as the T8 Beat Machine, the J6 chord synth, and the E4 voice tweaker. And they mean effects processor and not meth addict.
Maybe.
Although
Good
one
clarification.
might lead to the other. Who knows? So, in other tiny news, no, we're not talking about Christoph's manhood.
Good
I'm
lord.
sorry. I'm in a mode. Korg has launched the NTS2 oscilloscope as part of the new book, Patch and Tweak with Korg. Patch and Tweak is made by the company Bjux? Yeah.
We make
Bjux.
Bjux.
Yeah. Which make these very beautiful coffee table books of synthesizers and stuff like that. And they're really pretty and they're really neat. And there's a minimal amount of editing issues in them. Misspellings and stuff. But they're really pretty to look at. They look great on the coffee table. They look great down here in the studio. And they, along with this book, you can get this cool little oscilloscope guy, which is called the NTS2. It's not just an oscilloscope, though, kids. No.
It's also a
It's
book.
also a book.
Yeah. And it's
Actually,
It's actually,
I didn't think I was
tone
going to like
generator,
this,
too.
but I love this
Yeah.
thing. I love that
Yeah.
you can.
Oh, I want to totally get it
too.
once
We
they
all-
separate it
all-
as its own thing.
So it's an oscilloscope, it's a tuner, it's an FFT, fast Fourier transformer, and a spectrum analyzer. And it also has dual waveform generators. So you actually have extra oscillators or LFOs into the thing as well. So it's really cute. I mean, I don't give a crap about the book. Sorry, guys. I don't have enough core gear that they're going to want me to use because all my core gear is not new. But I really like this little oscilloscope. I have a little oscilloscope I built from Waveform magazine in my rig, and it's really neat to look at the waveforms and stuff like that. And having a tuner is kind of cool too.
Isn't this thing like a kit? Is it like a?
It's
Is
a
it
DIY,
DIY?
as in here's some screws.
Yeah, similar to
yeah,
the
it's just like
NTS,
the NTS kind of thing.
the one.
Okay, so it's like a.
Very
Yeah.
easy to build together.
So it's like a Bandai click together Gundam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Gunpla.
only with less painting necessary.
Yeah, I like the sticker ones because I get paint all over myself. But anyway,
I'm looking forward to when they unbundle it and you can just like, because I don't need the book, but I definitely would like to get the NTS too. Like I got to a couple weeks ago finally check out the Mordax data, and I like the fact that NTS 2 is something you can use without having like
Yeah.
a modular rig. So I just think this is brilliant, and I think a lot more people who want to be able to have a easy access oscilloscope is like get this thing.
What's the
for
price of this
affordable.
with a
How
book?
much is it?
Nobody knows.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to get
Say
to
at the
the
bottom.
website right now, and it's not letting me.
I thought they didn't announce it.
There we go.
Oh, well, for anybody who really wants an oscilloscope, there's a bunch of Chinese companies that sell direct to consumer, like Rigol and some others. They're not terribly expensive, and you can buy really nice ones also that you don't have to build. And by not terribly expensive, I mean this is like a legitimate, like an industrial or commercial grade oscilloscope that could be used in like a professional application setup, and it's $420. It's not no dollars, but if you're talking about a Korg little bitty one for 200 and some, 420 doesn't seem crazy off, and you can go up a little bit more and still get the tone generators and everything else added on for them.
Yeah, the one that came with Waveform magazine was like the little oscilloscope kit that you can buy for like $20 on Amazon, and you just like solder all the pieces together. And then they just had another board on it that gave you Eurorack input and output on it. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So otherwise it's the same thing. But it works, it does a great job. It's a
that's
little
cool.
noisy, but it's not bad.
Who made that?
Waveform magazine, you can buy it as a DIY kit for like $40. It gives you a little, and comes with a Eurorack mount and everything like that too. It's a cute little utility.
Andrew
I
made
made it. Oh, me and my soldering iron. I only had to unsolder 2 pieces. I'm really bad at soldering. I used to be really good at it when I was a kid, but I got really bad at it. But I got that one like almost on the first try, so that was cool. Yeah,
That's good.
So yeah, the NTS2 oscilloscope.
Yes, you don't need it, but you want it because it'll be fun.
Right? Because you can look at the waveforms.
That's just satisfying.
Yes, I agree.
Since
So-
it have the waveform display so you can see it, I love that.
I do
You know?
too. I think everybody should. Every
I know what
company
the
should do
sound
that.
is, but it's just really satisfying to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when Korg did
Yep.
that with the mini log and the monologue, I thought that was so neat. It was one of the reasons why I bought it. It's those little interface things that make me happy. All right, next piece of news here. The Erica Synth Company has released the Syntrix, and there's no vowels in this word, Syntrix 2. Syntrix. All right, yeah, so the Syntrix 2, boy, oh boy, that's hard to say.
Looks
It
better.
looks nice. It looks really good. It's really
Yeah.
sexy.
Mm-hmm.
It's $2,100. The original Syntrix was, I think it was limited edition to like 250 or something like that, I think.
Weren't a lot
Yeah,
of them. I don't
they
know.
didn't make too many of them, so they said they brought this guy out here. 2 oscillators, and a modulation oscillator, high pass and low pass filter in series, multicolor noise generator, sync sample and hold circuit, all kinds of fun stuff in this little guy here. A little piano roll sequencer. I love the patch matrix. Those things are so cool.
Yeah, I mean, all that synthy like stuff. Peter Znofiev was so cool. I think he passed away recently, if I'm not mistaken. But what are those? Are those pegs like the?
No, I just zoomed in on it because I was curious. They're LEDs.
It's digital.
Okay. Yeah, they looked like they were glowing. I don't know if they were LEDs. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
This thing's pretty, but it just makes a bunch of weird ruckus. I put it on here for Tony.
Yeah, if I ever decide to pretend to be Brian Eno in a Roxy Music cover band, this is the thing I'm buying.
Yeah, it's cool. Oh, breaking news, my cat has killed another shrew.
Good Lord, you have that many shrews in your house?
No, outside, out in the
Seriously.
backyard.
Oh, sorry.
He's got an infestation
Shrew.
everywhere.
No, yeah, this is the second one he's killed today. This one has been disemboweled.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yes,
lovely.
almost as fun as the one that I found that was frozen to the deck. Had to scrape it off.
It's a regular Secrets of Nim graveyard.
Yeah,
over at
pretty
your
much.
house, man.
This cat is fucking psychotic. The best part was when he brought the rabbit that he had to drag behind him.
Jeez. He's gonna bring in what, like a Gila monster next?
God, I
Like,
hope
what's
so.
going
Maybe he'll bring in Godzilla.
on?
People brought it.
I've got
2,000
one right
miles.
back here if he wants to have
There
at
you
it.
go.
My aunt and uncle used to have this dog. This is like I don't like dogs. I'm not a dog person. This is my favorite dog story. It's very short. My aunt and uncle used to have this collie. The collie's name was Holly. They lived on the top of a mountain in fairly rural Tennessee. And a couple other people sort of inhabited this mountain, but not many. And one day, Holly went missing.
Uh-oh.
And the next day, she came back. And the dog was carrying a "Beware of Dogs" sign that she had taken from God knows where and had brought it back. And it was covered in like dog teeth marks
Blood.
and everything else. And my aunt and uncle hung it up in the house as like a commemorative
beautiful.
thing. It was good. Yeah,
Wow.
that was a long time ago, but
Holly
very
the Collie. I thought this was going to be like a kid's
I know.
story.
I was hoping the joke would be around the
I
fact
mean,
that
kind
the
of.
dog was Holly the Collie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holly the Collie brought back a Beware
It's
of
like
Dogs.
my bears drinking beer in Boise joke that I tell,
Yeah.
but it's like a 20-minute joke.
Oh, it's a Shaggy Dog.
Yeah.
So,
Information Tray said he tried to buy a Syntrix and actually bought a Syntact instead. Smart. Yeah, much better
So close,
move,
so
I think.
close.
yeah.
Syntact has been a fantastic instrument. I've really been enjoying it.
Cool.
You can make music with Electron devices. It's possible.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the Syntact. So yeah, the Erica Syntrix 2 available this summer for $2,179 in the United States or 1,800 European dollars. So yeah, pick that up if you're into that kind of thing. Down into the more affordable world, we have Arturia. Our good friends at Arturia have released the V Collection 9. Ooh la la. And I think they're actually having it's currently on sale. I don't know, I got the upgrade version for like $149, I think. $129.
Yeah. If you own another version of it, yeah, it's $1.50, I think.
So the this gives you the Korg MS-20, the SQ-80V, a couple of the new Augmented Series instruments. They rebuilt for the plugins. They give you a shit ton of presets for all this stuff too. Really did a lot of optimization and stuff like that. So yeah, Justin, you've already installed this and you've been running it for the past 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
yes.
tell us about it.
And I will opine. So here, the first thing I want to say is kudos to them for splitting off the VS, because as the aforementioned iOS app I used to run was just the VS, and they'd some reason morphed the Prophet 5 with the VS, and you could sort of have a split screen and you could just be in VS mode, but I don't know, it was kludgy in my opinion. So splitting this off was a great idea. I love the VS very much, and I love the livery of it. I think it's beautiful, and I think that was a good choice. The revision of some of the engines is very subtle. I think it's great that they're going back and improving their products. So I think that's good news. The augmented stuff is interesting. I feel like they're competing a little with NI. Like I'm also a machine user, and so there's those. They have like contact libraries like Farlight and Straylight, and they have like similar kind of UIs, where it's kind of where they have the like weird like air button, like you're just like, okay, I don't know what that does, but it sounds cool, whatever. So I feel like they're moving into that market. I played with both of them. I think they're cool. They sound great.
Yeah.
My only complaint is that I think, and it could be because I'm not like a big MS-20 person, but I really don't like their MS-20. And so let me opine about Arturia. What Arturia does really well, the best in my opinion, are emulations of digital synths. And I know this is going to sound like heresy, but I think that a lot of their they do analog polys pretty well. Their analog mono modeling, in my opinion, is not the greatest. It's still not the greatest. They make beautiful UIs, but I just don't. I tried so hard to like their MS-20, and I just couldn't like it. But you know what? Like if you're, one synth out of all of them, and I pretty much use all the rest of them in most of my music. So, way to go.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The interface on those new devices, those augmented things, remind me a bit of like the Spitfire BBC Orchestra interface.
Yeah. It's an aesthetic. It's a look.
Yeah. Yeah. Which if you've not used the BBC Orchestra plugin from Spitfire, it's free. And it sounds really good. It sounds like an orchestra run by the British Broadcasting Company.
Everything from Spitfire.
Yeah, it's really good. They did a fantastic job with it. I use it all over the Hermit stuff. It's yum. Infotray says, with Native Instruments seeming like they're circling the drain, I'm glad someone else is starting to do esoteric orchestral stuff. Source Decay says, all your favorite analog synths with digital filters. Well, you got to have that nice cold digital filter sound somehow. Can't have that warm analog feel all over the place.
I have to say the Arturia CS80, the filter sounds pretty authentic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's one reason why everybody wants the CS80, and it's the Vangelis Blade Runner sound. And I've dialed it in, and it sounded good to me. So, and you can make that sound with other synths too, like the SQ80.
Yeah. Which is also on here.
Yeah, and I heard someone doing it with an ESQ1 where they did a video, and I was like, that does sound like it. So it depends on how you modulate your synth. But yeah, unfortunately for me, this upgrade is $300 because I have the B Collection 6, and unlike NI upgrades, which are usually the same price no matter what version you have as long as you qualify.
Right.
So I don't get the cheap upgrade. It would be $300, but I would get the SQ80 finally.
Yeah.
And that's why I consider buying the 8.1 is because I knew the SQ80 was out and they weren't including it. We'll see.
I tell you what, in my opinion, Christoph, the SQ80 is a masterpiece of theirs. I actually like the CZ that they did too. Again, like my favorite, their digital poly emulation is pretty badass.
Yeah. So I have an SQ80 emulation that's 32-bit only and is never going to be upgraded. I think it's called Butchie. And if you just do a search for it, you can find it, but it's only 32-bit. So to run it in Ableton, I have to go through a converter. But it sounds really good. So yeah, there's something about being able to emulate DCOs where it's much more doable. And I like that, like on that Butchie, they also have all the, the drum sounds that come with the SQ80. And as a Skinny Puppy fan, I need those sounds desperately.
Fair enough.
I actually got into a little back and forth with you know who Flux with it is, Ken Flux or
Ken
whatever.
Flux Pierce.
Yeah, yeah, that guy. He was doing a review of this SQ80 when it first came out, and I own an actual SQ80, and so I was like, well, let's do an A to B test with it, you know, why not? And I have to say, and I think I mentioned this on this show, that I felt like the Curtis in there sounded a little better than the emulation, which was not an indictment of this thing in any way. But he sort of made this comment of, oh, I can't tell the difference. And look, I don't know anything about that guy, but
some people have the ears,
and it's fair. I just, you know, look, I don't know. I'm a very suspicious person, especially when people are demoing stuff. I'm not, you know, I'm like, you know, are they? I don't know. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, you know, the vendor didn't have any say in my opinion, but I'm like, I don't know.
And again, sometimes people don't have the ear. Some people are really going to know that Curtis sound, and other people are like, it's a filter. You know, I've seen a lot of reviews where people say something sounds exactly like it. It's like, no, it doesn't. It's not even close. So just don't have the ear to be able to determine this kind of stuff. And you know, you had one, so you know, I have an SQ80 as well. And one thing I will say that's probably better on their tray is that, you know, like, it's you don't like the real-time changes don't really happen in the SQ80. You know, like, you know, so the build, I bet you on the clone, you can hear every tweak without committing it, and that's got to be a nice change.
That's a great point. And look, that was not an ad hominem attack on Flux with it, Pierce. I love his stuff.
Quit beating him up, Justin.
I wasn't trying to accuse him of taking payola from Arturia, but I'm always curious about that, because it's like, if you don't have anything negative to say, right? Like, you can always find something, right? To me, like, look, you're right. You're absolutely right, Christoph. I mean, the SQ80, I love it, but it's literally in cold storage over here for all the reasons you mentioned, right? You know, the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because it should be as popular as the Prophet 5 because it has the chips, but the interface, it's not a great interface. And I understand why they had to make, you know, design choices to keep the budget down on it, and it was meant to be affordable. But the fact that it's kind of menu driven, and it's not as good for real time tweaking as a Prophet 5. So the Prophet 5 went insanely up in value, and the SQ80 did not. I got my SQ80 pretty cheap.
Yeah, same here.
I'm sure it's worth a lot more now, but still, I mean, there was a reason why it was so much cheaper than all the other, since they had one knob per function. I
actually wanted the ESQ1, and I bought it. I bought a used one from all places from Gutter Center, and it like immediately.
Was it the one with the cigarette stain?
Yeah.
On the key, or like the cigarette burn on the keyboard?
No, that was the Waldorf.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they had the what's that thing called? The K. It's like the XT, but it's like the keyboard version, the big orange one. The microwave. Yeah. No, but to me, I was just like, it immediately started to get weird, and it stopped working. And I remember bringing it back into Guitar Center, and they were just so befuddled, I was basically like, I'm returning this. I bought it from you. It's a piece of garbage. Give me my money back.
This just in, Jeff is going to go get a sweatshirt.
I am. I was going to slip out quietly, but now I'm going to slip out loudly.
Do it. Make it.
Ah! It's very cold. I'm in a basement. It's no degrees down here.
Quite cozy in my basement. So you can get an ESQ1 for like $500 currently.
Wow.
It's kind of yellow, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get past the programming challenge, and it's in good condition, it sounds great. It's those Curtis chips. It's good oscillators. It's got a good sound, and if you put the noise section and you modulate the filter on it, you get really interesting noises out of it. It's all over Skinny Puppy's Vivis X6 album.
Yeah, I had an ESQ1 for a hot minute, and I loved it. But the battery.
Sonic was such a cool company.
Yeah.
They were such a cool company. They were doing such cool stuff.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So I'm hoping that the V Collection upgrade will go on sale at some point this year, like
I'm
a
sure it'll
deeper
probably
sale,
go.
and I'll pick it up. I would definitely pay $150 for it, but $300, I
Yeah,
don't need it
I'm sure
enough.
it'll go on sale, when the time comes.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of new stuff other than the core org, and I guess some of the interface changes. I mean,
And like the things they introduced in 7 and 8 just
Yeah.
weren't compelling enough for me. This is a compelling upgrade. And it is a good point about separating out the Prophet VS and the Prophet 5, because they're really not,
Right.
similar synths in any way. Except for the name.
sequential.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point, Arturia also, they make these, these simulations, but they're never perfect, but they're
Yeah.
good enough. That's like even their DX7, which you would think would be a perfect emulation. Nobody's made a perfect
No.
DX7 emulation. There's a channel, I've talked about this before, called Power DX on YouTube, and he compared all of them with his patches and showed how nobody gets it quite right. And if you exploit these features that where your modulation has to be down to 1 digit, and it just changes the sound. And when he does it on these other synths, the shimmer doesn't happen. And he highlights the difference why his DX7 is better than the higher resolution DX7 II. So, but they're all good. You can make music with them, but when you're looking for that perfect emulation, nobody does it. But they're really good tools. And again, don't buy a CS80. Get the V Collection. It's so much easier to use. It's a bargain. You don't have to pay for the maintenance. You don't have to buy climate control. So, it's great.
Nobody does it better.
And probably the best Prophet 5 clone is Yuhei's.
God, Repro 5 is so good.
Yeah.
It is. So it's CPU hungry, but that's because it's doing circuitry.
When I first got the M1 Mac, Christoph, I literally added as many Divas and Repro 5s as I could to see what I could do to break it. And I literally had 15 instruments before it started to actually really cave. So kudos to Apple, I guess.
Yeah. But I love Repro. It's great. So.
Well, out of the virtual world and into the real. Well, that was cheesy, wasn't it?
No, you were like Jonathan
Cyberpunk
Frakes there
rabbit
in that famous 90s show he did. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What if my bicycle was actually a sandwich?
Yes. You ever seen the Slowdown one where they're like, this is what drunk people talk like? Ew, what if your car keys are lost? Is that real? Nope.
Nope.
Made it up.
So, Tom Oberheim finally unveiled what he was drinking all that tequila over. And that is the Oberheim OBX8 synthesizer. And it's feature rich. It's $5,000. It's an 8-voice pure analog polyphonic synthesizer with square saw, pulse, triangle, noise, 2 discrete SM VCOs, all kinds of shit. This thing is really nice. Jeff, you'll be happy to know that it has real walnut end cheeks.
It's the only kind of cheeks that are real.
Real walnut end cheeks. None of that fake walnut shit.
Right.
$5,000, folks.
No big deal.
Hopefully it's American made for that cost, but they're probably handmade.
Yeah. I mean, I like so much about this thing. I mean, I know we talked about this in, independently, but in Basecamp. But I have to say, I like the fact that he's taken the OBX, the OBX-A, and the OB8, and so you can mix and match all those things. I think that's a really good idea, and it's basically a nod to all the punters that would be endlessly complaining if he just did an OBXA clone. I know, Christoph, you made a comment about them adding the 4-pole Curtis filters in there, or somebody did, and but I mean, he's legit trying to emulate one of those OBs, and I get that that's what they were trying to do, but to me, like, it does seem a little heretical to, not just use a SEM filter in there. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's fine. I just don't think if they had been like, to the Prophet 5, not the 10, but the 5 retails around 3,500. If they had kept it in that price range, they might have sold me. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think there's anything it can do that the my current OB6 can't do with the vintage knob. I mean, maybe I'm just not as much of an Oberheim fan as I should be. I love Oberheim, though. I really, really, really do. But
you know what? If you had one Powerball, you'd be buying 2 of these.
Okay. Yeah. I if I had money to burn, hell yes, I would buy this thing.
And there's a market for those people, and he's going to sell every one of these synths.
Oh, sure, no doubt.
Because there are people that have that fuck you.
I wish they had put the OBX.
That don't, we're not getting it because it's just too.
They should have put the OBX8 livery on there. They should have. I don't think putting the OB in there was a good idea.
Yeah, it doesn't look that beautiful to me.
I think it's actually pretty unattractive, honestly.
I mean, those end cheeks are nice, but otherwise, I don't know. It's not the prettiest thing.
I mean, it probably sounds bloody great, and it probably
all the audio I've heard
so good.
It sounds wonderful. Yeah.
I really hope it's at well, I doubt it will be, but it'd be nice if you could play this for real somewhere. Maybe, I don't know if it would be a KnobCon or not, but because I get the feeling when you watch the videos that you're like, you know what, this isn't probably doing it justice. You probably need to play with it in real life.
Yeah, that's possibly true. But in the end, I think I don't know. I've kind of hit this. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe it. I've kind of hit this point where I think that the hyper premium analog synthesizers like that really don't offer that much more at this point. Like the diminishing returns are pretty close in, especially when you have some synthesizers, especially like digital things like the Hydrasynth or the Virus or the Peak kind of digital, I guess, like hybrid or VA that are like really high end stuff, where the quality of the sound is, I mean, they're not trying to like emulate anything, but the quality of the sound is just so good that the price that you're paying for something like this is, it feels really out of whack. Like, I mean, I don't remember exactly how much the Virus was. It was about 3,000 ish. If they were the same price, I think I'd take the Virus.
Yeah, this is definitely a luxury vehicle. Yeah. Right? This is like Boomer Vision luxury vehicle. I get it. Like,
this is for people who want Oberheim synthesizers.
Sure.
So there's 2 markets that I see for this synth. One is collectors, and there's such a nostalgia just that it's a real thing. And people that just love him and want to support him. And how can you not? The man's adorable. But the second is, it's if you want that Oberheim X sound authentically, or these other Oberheim sounds, and it's like the Virus is a great bread and butter synth. If you just want to make music, that's the one to get. It's got more power.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to have that exact sound, that like, all right, I used to use this synth, and if I want to get a used XA, it's going to cost me like 11 grand, but I can get this one for 5 grand if the components are new. Then this is your way to go. And and it's modernized compared to an XA. So there is a market for it, but it's a niche market for sure. This is not
In studios.
This is not going to displace the Virus, which is also probably discontinued. But still, there's a ton of great synths like the Summit. There's tons of them. So this is not going to displace that market. It's just for collectors and people that need that exact sound. Like when I was buying my Behringer Pro 1, someone kept telling me, don't get that, get the Waldorf Blofeld, which people love, and it's a great unfinished synth, but it doesn't have this sound that I'm going for, which is I wanted that Pro 1 sound. The Pro 1 makes my favorite synth bass of all time, and that's why I got it. There's something about, and it's like, like for example, the single oscillator on the Pro 1 isn't my favorite, but when those two oscillators are modulating each other, it does wonderful things. Like I'd rather stack 3 Moog oscillators because they're just super fat, but the way they cross modulate isn't the same as the Pro 1. But it's the filter on the Pro 1. It just has a distinct sound. That sequential circuits, filter sound, it tickles my ears in a way, because it's got that Skinny Puppy sound that I love, or that John Carpenter sound that I love, and the Time doesn't, and the Moog doesn't. So that's why you get it. And there's somebody out there who wants that Oberheim sound. And one of my other favorite synth basses comes from the Overmoog or the MX, and I think the closest thing I've heard to that is the SEM filter. So and that's who needs this kind of synth that has, when it's got that one sound that's distinct to it, and other people don't hear the difference, but for you it's night and day. Then this is your synth, and you're going to pay the $5,000.
I mean, they've got competition. I mean, not just in the OB6, which is kind of competing against himself, because that was another sequential Oberheim collaboration, but also like all the UBXA and other such things.
The UBXA will be real competition for sure. But as you were mentioning at Basecamp, you find the UBXA to be a little squelchy in the high end, right?
It has that Behringer thing, and I know this is hard to quantify, but I don't want to say cheap, but kind of bleedy. I don't know, not controlled. There's just something about it. It's like it has a lot of, not aliasing, but like a lot of extra something that isn't there on purpose. I don't know how else to explain it.
Could be.
And it's fine. I'm sure the first demos I saw of some of the beta testers, it actually sounded pretty badass. But this last demo, I was like, oh God, it reminds me of my Neutron. It's got that sort of uncontrollable thing. I don't know. And it's really down to the oscillators. And but we'll see. I'm reserving judgment.
Yeah. And of course, they also have their UBX clone, in the works as well. And that will have a very different sound, because that's not chips. That's all.
Is that the little one, Christoph?
No, that's the huge one. That's going to be more expensive than the UBXA. So the UBX is going to be based on the OBX, not the OBXA. And so the OBX wasn't using chips. It was all discrete circuitry. So they're recreating that, and they've said it's going to have to cost a lot more because it's discrete. It's just a lot more. It's just really expensive to make that.
I did not know this. Now, thank you. I got to check this out.
Yeah. But again, although it's not using those chips, it will still be delayed, because what's holding back everything is the chips that you're using to implement MIDI. That's what's short around the world. Those ARM chips.
Oh yeah, and it's got the same livery as the OBX8. Interesting.
There you go. So yeah, if you've got $5,000 lying around, you can get an OBX8 or 2 OP1 fields, and and part of the mixer. We'll get to that in a little bit, though.
We've got a lot of stuff left to get through here.
Oh, it's going to get drippy really quick here. So next little piece of news here: the Polyend Play, the thing that people said it's the thing that's going to kill the deluge.
Oops.
The deluge is safe.
Nope. Again,
to ring another day. For whatever reason, Polyend decided to make this just a sample playback device with a sequencer, with an 8-track MIDI sequencer. You can do a lot with the samples. Don't get me wrong. You cannot sample into it. and there's no synth engine in it whatsoever. So this is a Dig-Attack competitor.
I was just gonna say Dig Attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much like the Dig Attack, there's no song
Yeah.
mode. So there's a lot. It has a lot more in common with the Dig Attack than it does with the Deluge.
Aren't these the guys that make the tracker, the Polyan
Yes.
tracker?
Yeah,
It's
it's,
the same-
like a tracker but worse.
And
Only
Yeah.
it goes left to right.
Based
Yeah.
off that same-
Why would you hobble the shit out of it and not even? I don't know.
Makes no sense. It's very weird.
It's basically, I'm positive it's a tracker engine with a different interface because tracker interfaces are hard, and this is selling a more popular, interface like the Deluge, but it's not a Deluge. They don't,
It's not.
and they're missing
Yes.
what makes the Deluge great. And I love sample-based music, but I just think
And
they're
I
blowing
think
it
that
here.
some of the things that to me, that I'm always like kind of scratching my head over is that they put this thing out and it clearly does. It looks, everyone, compares it to the Deluge, right? It looks like a Deluge, and it absolutely does. But it's like they've never, like they saw the Deluge on a advertisement and didn't read anything about it. Because there's just like,
comparing the pay packs.
yeah, it's like, why did you put 16 tracks on this thing when you could have easily made it however many you wanted to? Why did you make it so it's only a 64-step sequencer when you could?
Don't worry, Andrew.
Anything that looks like the Deluge, people will get confused and think, oh, maybe
Yeah.
this one
We
instead.
have manufactured humans from
And-
Polaroids. We
and I
saw it at your
kinda get
grandmother's
it.
Yeah,
house.
pretty much.
What they don't keep realizing is like dealer owners know what
Right.
things that they want and say it all the time, and yet none of these things
Yeah.
are hitting that
They're
mark
like, oh, it's
yet.
got a screen, but it only does, 16 sets. It's only a 64-step
Right.
sequencer.
Just because you got a screen
Yeah,
doesn't mean
exactly.
I'm turning over to you.
It's got a screen, but it's so basic that it definitely doesn't need one.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just like, okay. And it's weird because it's like they could have done a little bit more, I think. Like, again, it's just like you get some sample editing, but it's mostly like, here's where you start the sample. And that kind of thing, and some time stretching. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like some weird decisions. I was really thinking this was going to be something bigger than it actually was, and in the end, I'm just kind of like, okay, it's a Dig Attack competitor, which makes some more sense because the Dig Attack is obviously a much more popular product than like the Deluge and stuff like that. So, and sheer like sales numbers and stuff, I'm sure that the Dig Attack has sold more than most of these companies have, and I think that Polyan wants a piece of the pie.
But what about the OP1?
We'll get there. So and it's $800 also. So you're looking at that too. Your money on that. But yeah, I don't know. Weird decisions.
Well, I'm told that the sample implementation isn't great in the Deluge. And so is maybe the sampling, using this device as a sampler.
But you can't. It doesn't have sampling
better.
capabilities. It's only sample playback.
So, what? Yeah, but I mean, using it as a sample playback device, maybe it works better than sampling on the Deluge. That's the only
Yeah,
thing that
maybe.
could save this thing. Because with the Deluge, you're getting multiple engines and so much power. So, and for this to only be a sampler, then it better be a good
Sample player.
sampler that can
Yes.
sample player. Yeah.
And what's
Like, should we just say
yeah, there you go.
programmable?
And what's interesting is it's like Polyan knows how to make a synthesizer. I'm not mentioning
Yeah.
anything in particular, but the Medusa, they built the
Gorgon.
digital synth on that thing. So they know what they're doing with it, and it's just I don't know. Hayes Anderson says, I think these weird decisions are indeed hampered by chip shortages. Possibly. Yeah.
It's likely.
I don't know. So, speaking of stupid decisions,
So many.
OP1 Field came out and it's $2,000. This coming from the company that says you shouldn't have to pay this much for an OP1 when they decided to discontinue the original OP1, and then people started selling them for not $2,000, but for like $1,300, $1,400. Now, an OP1 nowadays, you shouldn't have to pay that much for an OP1, is going for $1,200 new. And the OP1 Field with 100 new features is going for $2,000.
Well, it does have an upgraded metronome.
And new font.
And font. Yeah, the font is the key.
Yeah.
Shit, that's worth $600-$700.
It almost
right?
had me on the font.
What font is it? Is it Futura?
I think so.
It's Futura
Yeah, that-
Pro. Thank you.
Hence the
Alright.
$1,000 upgrade.
So
Yeah.
$2,000, and they're currently saying
It
due
comes-
to logistic and warehousing issues beyond our control, please allow up to 45 days for your order to ship. We sincerely apologize for the delay.
I just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
The
don't know.
OP1 is actually. I'm sorry. The OP1 is currently going for $1,400. No one should pay this much for an OP1.
That's only 10 times more than it should cost.
And usually used, you can find it between 900
I
to
bought
1,000.
mine for $800 and I sold it for $1,200.
Nothing but net.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though.
It's a
Right.
better investment than Bitcoin.
Yeah, especially right now. So
So is trash.
yeah. Oh, whoa. I spent my entire life savings. I threw it into Ethereum, so I'm fine. So here's what I don't understand about this OP1 Field. I mean, it actually looks uglier than the original, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Like I know we slagged all over it's becoming a thing. Like other people beat up on Behringer, and we like to beat up on Teen Engineering, but I just don't know. I don't get it. I seriously just literally don't get it. Like if knowing what I know about this thing, features, everything, and I played with your old one, Andrew, and it's kitschy and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I would balk at paying half of the fucking price for this thing. You know what I mean? It just boggles the mind. I just don't understand.
I can explain it why you feel that way. So, Justin, if you look to your right, that's
All right, fair enough.
real powerful sense, and it's hard to remove all that power to go back to something really limited. Like these things were designed over the course of 40 years with continuous improvements to workflow and professional features that you need. And so as gimmicky as the OP1 is, like, I don't want to give up power or workflow, or we just want to get our stuff done. I have an idea in my head,
Right.
and I want to be able to make it, and I don't want to jump through what these hipsters think that I need to do. I don't want to get a Lego Mindstrom controller because I want an LFO.
Yeah. I don't want to play like a Wii.
Rubber bands holding my sense
I
together.
want to play a fucking Wii U puzzle game on this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I got other shit to do in my life.
Yeah, like make it easy to synchronize the tracks, to quantize, to sequence. I mean, I don't get me wrong.
It does.
I know the thing sounds great, and I know
Holy
it has
shit,
lots
Graceful
of cool
Bard
features.
just braided us with
but
64
it lacks
people.
a ton of professional.
Ray, thank you.
Thank
Hello,
you, Bard. Thank you for the
Graceful Bard.
raid.
I love the Graceful Bard's channel. I think
Absolutely.
she's so talented, and it totally blew me away with what you can do with a 505. I never wanted one until I saw what somebody with
Right.
talent could do with one.
So shout out to Graceful Bard.
And I don't have one because
Yeah,
I don't
same.
have that kind of talent, but she does. So it's just really.
I hope you had a great stream. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for kicking ass with the 505 and your incredible voice and talent. Keep kicking ass. We're currently bitching about the OP1 release, the new one, the OP1 Field. For $2,000, you get a new font. Actually, you get 100 new details that is in very
And an
teeny
upgraded
tiny
metronome.
font that you can barely read. It looks like a white screen.
All
That's
about the font.
how terrible it is. So yeah, I as a former OP1 owner, it was fun for a little bit, but then like I took it with me on a trip. I'm like, I'm going to make a song with this thing. And I couldn't because that fucking tape based recording thing was so dumb, and there was like no way to synchronize stuff and everything like that, and it was just like fucking ugh. And I learned to hate it really quickly. Who's wearing pants? Not us. That's why you can only see our heads. This is a pants-free zone. Please remove. So I sold it and then I bought another one because I thought, wait, maybe I got it wrong. And no, I didn't get it wrong. It fucking sucked. So yeah. And the OPZ was even worse.
Yeah, I mean, if you come at it from a not synth background where you're not used to what you should expect from a synth or a DAW or a workstation, then I get why you might love this thing because it enables you to do stuff and it's fun, but it's so much money. But if you're used to professional features, it's a frustration machine.
I think it's kind of a device for people who want to play with the device, not make the music. And that's not meant to be a disparaging statement at all. Like, I think if you want to, and if your entire purpose of the instrument that you've bought, whatever it is to just to have a fun instrument to play with and to be able to take with you, and you're not really terribly concerned about completing finished, polished music, it could be good, but the price is insane.
Yeah. Right. That's what it all goes back to. It's an
But if you want to take a break from writing your novel on your laptop at Starbucks and pull out a synthesizer that you want people to see that you're using, boy, do they have a synthesizer.
I just can't imagine how many Game Boy Colors I could buy for $2,000.
Right, there you go. That's the measurement right there. So, like, I mean, at the same token, though, you see people like Red Means Recording and Andrew Huang, and these guys make really cool stuff with this thing from a skeleton standpoint, and they flesh it out in Ableton Live. But it starts off really kind of neat sounding, and I think also because they're entertainers, and so they make it entertaining to watch them create this stuff.
Yeah, and they're talented.
Yeah.
They can make good music out of a potato and a fork and a good idea. I mean,
that sounds like a cool challenge.
I was gonna say, I like the potato idea.
Andrew Wong did it with some soap.
Way more affordable.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard great things come out of the OP1, but it's a challenge. You know, and I don't want to fight my gear.
And that's you bring up a good point, and I think that a lot of people, we want to use our gear. We don't want to have to learn how to change our brains to use that gear
to work around it. Yeah,
and I think that.
And that's such a challenge with so many different pieces of gear, but you know it gets you locked in an ecosystem. Like there's a lot of people who love the Korg Electribe workflow, and I can't stand it because it has these built-in limitations, and I just want to do my thing. And like I have an ES1, and on on one of the channels, it's always a choke channel. You know, and so you just have to get used to it. You only have these channels, and this one's always choking this one, and I want to decide. But for other people, they get used to it and then they just love it. Just like people fall in love with MPC workflow or machine workflow. But here, so they're doing that again, but they're removing so many things that just, you get so frustrated because you can't do simple things like syncing your tracks easily or sliding them around. It's like,
but you say something, you said something about like the workflow. You talk about like the Electribe workflow and that kind of thing. The difference is that like the Electribe workflow works across the different types of Electribes. The Electron workflow works across the various Electron gear. This thing this workflow only works on the OP1. The OPZ doesn't have this workflow at all. The pocket operators don't have. There's no teenage engineering workflow except utter confusion and bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I mean, you mentioned the Electribe stuff, and you know, entire genres, especially in the UK, of music are made on these things, like drum and bass and gabber, and it goes on and on and on. Garage. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's limited for sure, but people are able to squeeze a lot of life out of that, you know.
I mean, the great thing about, for example, the pocket operators is that, you know, teenagers can bring them to high school and fuck around with them. And that's great. But it's also not a, you know, $2,000 field, you know, OP1.
Right.
Which teenagers can't afford. So I get it. The thing is, you know why it costs $2,000? Because it's going to sell out anyway. People are going to, and they can charge whatever they want for it. Like from a professional viewpoint, we all know this thing should be under $500 because of what it's providing. But, you know, it doesn't matter because capitalism. People will pay $2,000 for it, and they're going to sell it out. I mean, the OP1 regularly sells out. And then whenever they sell out, they go up in price on the used market. So that's why it costs that much money.
But
You know,
this is
it's
why I
got that
say.
hipster appeal.
But going before, we were talking about like the Roland area, like those compact things. I almost rather see them spend less money, fiddle with those, and at least can go into a workflow of, all right, upgrade to something that's better versus your limitation of, here's all you can do with the OP1, and you spent the $2,000 for it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I think that's it's kind of like the downfall to this kind of thing is they're kind of gatekeeping themselves into this whole thing. So now, the OP1 is only going to be affordable for the people that have enough money to buy something like that. And then now it's just a status item, it feels like.
Well, between that
Yeah.
and their mixer, it's the same thing. It's just like status and price, but it's like it's not an expansion of like if you go into any of the other systems, you can knock Behringer, you can knock Roland, but at least they have the options and the workflows available
Right.
to expand from.
Hayes Anderson
Yeah,
says the OP1
I-
has features that we have not even discussed yet. Features that we probably don't need.
Like Velcro.
I love that it has. Was it the OPZ or this one that had the radio on board, the FM radio?
Yeah, the
Oh,
OP1
the
has
OP1
has the
has
radio
radio.
on it, but it also does have things like wireless MIDI, and that's kind of nice and stuff like that. But
Sure.
the wireless MIDI is limited to only like using it with certain pocket operators and like the OPZ.
I'm just saying, here in Chicago, if you get AM radio on that thing, they can listen to lots of awesome right-wing lunacy.
Oh, that's everywhere.
Right.
That's just AM
Yeah.
radio.
Well, there's like too many of them here, though, because I guess every channel it's either like biblical revelation or something
Right.
crazy.
Anyway, we got 10 minutes left.
Having
Yeah.
driven through Ohio, that's absolutely right.
What's that?
Having driven through Ohio, that is definitely right about FM
Oh,
radio
yeah.
and AM radio there.
It's
It's
shit
crazy.
bonkers. And speaking
10 minutes.
10 minutes, we cover all this stuff in 10 minutes and still discuss your countertops.
We're gonna speed run this
All
shit.
right.
Come on, let's go.
Do it.
Sorry.
There you go.
Get ready for this shit, folks. All right. Here we go into the speed round. The MIDI 3D and MIDI glove limb tracking MIDI controller. Finally, you can actually hear me masturbate. These things are going for, you're welcome,
Pass.
1,049 imperial pounds for some gestural control.
Yeah, but after after you watched Kung Fury and you watched the Hackerman videos, you knew
Oh, yeah.
you needed this glove set.
So I had a Bluetooth
Yeah.
ring at one point that I could use to control stuff, and have been very interested in gestural control until I actually tried doing it and realized that it's dumb.
I just want the Triceratops
You know,
mask. Can I just get one of those? Because that'd be good.
Someone
who
convert
should
like
have done
can someone
this?
just convert a
All
Nintendo
for-
Power
I've seen
Glove
people do
into
Oh
that.
my god, the
And
power glove. Yeah.
People have.
It's like if someone could do that, you know what? I'd buy that just for nostalgia.
My big hands don't fit in the power
and
gloves.
the power glove is awful. I might still
Can't help you
have
there.
one. I'm not sure.
You should turn it into a MIDI controller.
It's one of the few things I didn't get was
It's
the Power
not
Glove.
usable for anything.
Robin, I figured you totally would have had a power glove.
Come on.
No, my parents never got that for me. I got a lot of the.
I got a drawer full
I
of light
know.
guns,
I had the Dance Dance Revolution pad, if that
guess
counts for
counts
anything.
something.
Yeah.
So yeah, the limb tracking thing, the MIDI glove and stuff. I mean, it's great if you're what's her name? Who's the artist that uses these things all the time? Imogen Heap. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's great if you're that, and you can even see that even when she uses it, she runs into it's buggy as shit. And I think that's really the thing is that a lot of these are buggy as shit.
God. Andrew, remember when we were was it Oberlin?
Oh,
For that
yes.
music?
I was just telling somebody about that. The dude that like literally walked out looking like he was like
Covered in
Tetsuo the Iron
electrodes.
Man.
Yeah. And his shit kept glitching out.
And-
he had some Linux program running that he was controlling it, and it was all glitchy and weird.
So what this thing was doing is it was a bunch of like electrodes on him that was picking up his whatever, his like nerves and stuff like that, and then it was turning it into music, into audio. When I can say music, And he was just like, whenever he was breathing, it was like, and then at one point he's like, that noise there means either there's a malfunction in there or I'm having a stroke. And then we're like, ooh, let's find out.
Maybe it's both.
If you're interested in this kind of thing, what you can do is you can hook piezo transducers up to your body, hook it up into a brain, and then slap those parts of your body, to trigger things. I've seen bands do that before. I would like to see Althorn Punisher do it.
Yeah, he would be the one to do it well.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's probably useless.
Yeah.
But somebody, if you do it right,
But Althorn Punisher has to make it look less comfortable
But
too,
he'll
because he
be
never really looks truly comfortable.
Yeah, he's such a Doomcore guy too. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we saw him at Moogfest that one year, and he was doing a master class on how he does everything.
Yeah,
And that was kind of cool because he was like talking about the different models of the various devices that he had built or had built for him and stuff like that. And
yeah, that's the year he brought in the new piece, which was some kind of throat mic. It was a contact mic for his,
it was like this
larynx
weird,
or something.
Yeah, it was this weird larynx thing.
Yeah, it was freaking weird.
He was doing like throat singing through it, and it was just making it really, he's an interesting character. Anyway,
Do you think he uses MPE?
Oh, we've come full circle.
Look at that. Zing. Anyway, so the MIDI glove limb tracking MIDI device, so much MIDI, yours for the low price of $10.49 Imperial credits. Oh, the next thing is the Synthux.Academy has created the perfect synthesizer. Our job here is done. We can go home.
Oh, whoops. I clicked the wrong link.
Get out.
Good night.
I did the
This is
wrong
why
one.
we can't have nice things.
I did this Sick Emperor. Sick
I know you really
Emperor.
want to talk
Did you
about
put,
that one.
You paste whitehouse.com in there again, Jeff? It's not-
Well, now we can see what he's into. Put the right one up there, Jeffy. Maybe not. There it is. All right. So yes, this thing is a platform that you can build your own perfect synthesizer box. Isn't that neat? So it's a community-based thing. This Synthux Academy, and they have a little platform that you can do all this kind of stuff. And you can it's available for pre-order now, so you can put like synths, drums, machines, effects, all that kind of stuff in this DIY kit, and then from there they send it to you and you can build it. Voila, that's cool.
It's pretty cool, actually.
And it's it's 289 euros, so it's like $400 for the packed version of it and for everything. And then they have like the different versions of them and stuff like that. And then they walk you through a lot of the stuff too, because it's all about like the learning experience. So that's cool. Womber, that sound is Christoph rewinding. Next up on our list. Now, Jeff, you can put that one up on there.
The Sick Emperor.
Yes, the Sick Meeper. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what a name.
This is the worst,
Worst name for a piece of gear
Why?
ever.
Like,
Is my fan noise making it into the stream?
No, I
Do
think
need to mute?
it's actually it adds ambience in a weird farty way. I like it. So whatever that word is, Sick Emperor.
The Sick
Sick
Emperor.
Emperor. So this is a plugin that does 8 voices of
say that 3 times
MPE.
fast.
And it does a whole lot of it's really useful for like generative kind of sounding stuff and everything like that. It's just an MPE like sequencer for whatever MPE synths that you have. And it does what it does. It does what it says, and it's cool, and it looks like it's pretty easy to use. It's available for pre-order now for 29 euros, so about like I don't know, like $40 or something like that. It looks neat. Cool, something to do with your MPE stuff now.
Does the Behringer Model 15 have MPE?
I doubt it.
Well, you could sick Meperor.
Sick
if it did.
Meperor with this thing. The Behringer has introduced the Model 15 in its usual sled of a thing. It looks like a grandmother, a Moog grandmother. It's got the same kind of coloring and everything like that on there. Yeah, they introduced it with a video, so there's not much other information out there. It'll be available as soon as they get the chips.
Never.
Like everything else.
Like what is it?
Yeah, I think so.
$329. Yeah. So you wanted a grandmother, but you didn't. You wanted to spend a lot less.
There you go.
Here you go.
Buy it
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
You know, I feel kind of bad for this presenter guy that got doing this stuff because he's got to know, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again,
Yep.
Behringer is taking something that is in production and building it again.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah. This is I'm really be proud of.
Yeah. All right, almost done here. Got a minute left. Can we do this? Akai previewing their MPC 2.11 software gives you more effects, some really cool effects actually. Things like tape effect and everything like that in there. Better organization. As far as like sounds and stuff like that is concerned. And yeah, it's a pretty decent update that's coming out next month. We'll jump into that a bit more next month when it actually comes out, other than having to watch a Nick Bat video that we had to send him because he wasn't at Super Booth. We just green screened it in. We were there. So that was coming out, I think, June 23rd. And so if you're an NPC user, this looks pretty cool. Justin, I know you are an NPC lover. I'm sure you watch this video.
Yeah, I think the best part about it, honestly, I do like the effects and stuff, but is the organization.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of saying, hey, look, if you're going to be Dallas and this is going to be your hub, then you need to be able to navigate a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
And the fact that's very thoughtful of a company to go back and say, we're going to improve this workflow layout stuff. That's pretty cool.
They also introduced key zones as well. So if you have a keyboard controller, you can assign samples of certain key zones on your keyboard, which I think is fantastic too.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
That is cool.
They were,
The key span.
weren't they hinting at making an NPC one with a keyboard?
That was
At
the
one point.
rumor, but I think that button might have been for this instead, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Could still happen. I mean, there's nothing that's stopping it. It was just part of the. It was called out as a specific element in the firmware, and there is an element in the firmware originally when that leak happened that seemed to address a keyboard.
So maybe this might be the
Interesting.
next step toward it, since they introduced the ability to spread that out on a firmware update. Maybe that'll, the next thing you know,
Yeah.
it's boom ba da doom. And finally tonight, Mayer has introduced the EMI MD900. Justin, you posted this, yeah?
So, first of all, Mayer is just like a dude. Like, this is kind of like the guy that did the original Kyra, right? Totally a DIYer. I mean, I don't know what else he does for a living, if anything, but that kind of impressed me. And a lot of these folks that show up to Super Booth, I feel like Super Booth is a little bit more like an art fair than like NAMM or something, you know, because you get these people who are like, you know, yeah, you know, look, I built this log, you know, that can play Beethoven with a stick, you know, and it's like, it's great, you know, you just get all this novel, unique stuff. But this thing is actually intense. Like, I mean, Jeff, look, it's virtual analog.
Yeah.
But it sounds really good. And
It does.
it's very well appointed. 16 voices, 4-part multi-timbral. I mean, got a lot of onboard effects that sound really good. Sound better than this friggin' sequential onboards. I don't know that I really have a need for this, but I think it's super cool that this guy's making them. And Thomann, the link I put in was Thomann, so Thomann's already got them listed. So maybe they'll actually shift a few of these things. I hope so. I wish this person all the success.
Yep. It's going for $3,000. That's US of $8. Interestingly enough, it has like 3 USB ports on this puppy, as well as the standard audio and MIDI input out as well. So that's Yeah, I just zoomed in there.
Yeah,
Take a
you're
look at that.
right.
So it's got a USB MIDI host on there as well. So that's kind of nice.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
All
it's
the
got
USB.
All USB all the time.
It's got DIN MIDI. I'm looking at it. It's got a sustain. It's got a lot of the standard sort of keyboard stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, seeing the 3 USB with ports made me kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
it is interesting. I didn't notice that.
It really wants to be a fairly professional high-end device.
I hope it works out. It
You
looks
know, I
nice.
mean, instead of
it
the
looks great.
Kyra, this is the kind of thing where if someone was going to snipe it, I would think Waldorf would
Right.
do it. But they already did that, and it didn't work out so great.
Yeah.
But this thing is way cooler, in my opinion, than the.
Yeah, I agree. Wow, we went through Super Booth. We went through the entire Super Booth. There's nothing left of Super Booth after we were done.
We tore it down.
They tore
to
down
do
the
it.
Fez building. It is now a parking lot for the Tangents corporate offices in Berlin. We're moving to Berlin, everybody.
Sweet.
Pack your bags, get in the car. We're heading to Berlin.
I would do that for real.
Let's go.
Next year.
for sure.
Yeah, so there you go.
We did it.
Woo. You've been watching Tangents.
Ta-da.
Look at that. Who are we going to raid to tonight? Octanode is on. Let's do that. Let's hit Octanode. So yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out.
Nice.
Thank you again for the raids. That was super cool. I think this is the largest audience we've had on Tangents this week, considering that we're on every other week. Please like and subscribe, or at least follow us, because that'd be cool, because we like having followers. Thanks for the new follows, by the way. Appreciate that. And yeah, we're going to be back in 2 weeks for more exciting synthesizer lovin'. Although maybe the news will slow down because Super Booth is over, but Summer NAMM is coming.
Plus, there's about 20 things we didn't talk about from Super Booth, so we can always
No,
stack.
we've
They'll,
we've
they'll
covered
find their
everything
way
in Super
here.
Booth. There's no more to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
Super Booth is dead
Oh my god.
as of right now.
Long live
Yeah.
NobCon. What?
Yeah. NobCon is dead. Long live NobCon.
Yeah, right?
Anyway.
Yes, NobCon. Everybody should go to NobCon. Everyone that's on right now should go and sign up and go to NobCon. It's fun. It's not just for knobs.
Indeed.
All right, off to Octanode we go. Thanks everybody once again for watching. We appreciate you. We love you. We adore you.
Happy
I
Wednesday.
don't know
Oh, nice.
what are you
Indeed.
doing, Christoph?
No.
He's showing his
Oh,
ground
his
loop.
ground loop thing. I like that you have it in your pocket
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah, that eliminate USB
Oh, okay. I
cable.
thought you just carried it in your pocket.
Just
Oh, I
coming up
see
in the
that. Yep.
conversation.
All right, everybody, let's get the hell out of here. Have a good night.